Good afternoon. Welcome to International Racing League Season 15 F1's here at round number 5 at Spain. I'm your commentator IRL Neon, or as Jared Fosbury, here for number round 5. As if you haven't seen the news as of yet, the PC Tier 4 F1 will be starting this Tuesday coming up. Also, PCF2 is still in the works. If you do guys want to sign up for that, there is still spaces open for that as well. And FP on a Wednesday night at 8 PM, and also potentially a PSF2 on Sunday at 7 PM as well. Do join our Discord to see any more information about that, as there is some more information on that side. But right now, though, we're going to go on board with the standings then, as we wait for a couple of people to join the lobby then. As if you didn't find out last week, Cameron Armstrong didn't get the win in the end after a penalty from Millen removed his win in the end, and Fergus Wilson took the win. So Red Bulls both have a win each. And Millen has retaken the lead in the Drivers' Championship. Actually, Cameron's actually tied with points from 51 points. Both of them have, except Millen's ahead due to having a win compared to Cameron. Cameron's been close having a win, especially in China and Qatar. Did miss out in America as he made a second stop. But today we are at Spain, so he could get his maiden win this season. As Cameron Armstrong has moved third in the driver's standings with 49 points to his name. So I believe if he did actually get the victory in the end, he would have been in the lead of the championship. Curtis, who is racing today, is in fourth as well, 49 points, also time Cameron Armstrong there, so he's in the mix for the title at the moment. Tony, who's been usually starting at the back of the race, is not doing that bad with 30 points to his name in fifth. Hopefully he can get some more solid points and hopefully gain a couple of positions in the Drivers' Championship standings. As Edward then in sixth, looking for some luck, a bit more luck this season as he had in Miami. Got a second place, could have potentially had the win, but did get second in the end. With Fergus Wilson obviously taking that maiden win this season as well for himself after he served his race ban at Qatar due to the incident he had in China with Bran and Ollie, both Alfa Romeo drivers. So Ferguson is in 7th, Alfie in 8th then, with 26 points as well, same with obviously tying with Fergus Wilson for that position. Liam Craig, who raced the first 2 rounds in 9th, still with 15 points, hopefully he can make next couple of rounds as a reserve. And Mumford, who finished 10th at Miami, but got that removed, dropped down a couple of positions due to Snookster 5-second panic, which he got by the collision with Bran and Tony's incident into the chicane, which was, as I said on stream, which was a BS pen, which did get removed, so he did get some points in the end at that round. But that is your top 10 in the drivers' stands at the present time. Obviously, it can change after this round. The constructors right now, it's actually heating up a little bit. AlphaTauri is still in the lead with Cameron and Alfie's teammates, obviously with 77 points to their name. Then you've got the Williams pairing right behind, exactly the same amount of points with 77. Then behind them is the Red Bull pairing, who've had a good set of good scoring points in the past couple of rounds, with both Red Bulls taking a win recently. Fergus Wilson and Cameron Armstrong with 75 points and only a couple of points behind. And then Haas dropping behind a little bit in 4th place with 63 points. Then there's a bit more of a gap to 5th. Tony and Ross, 31 points, or Donald Denham. Then Alpine is 6th with Sondre and Mumford. Their first points was at Austria and haven't scored points since. Alfa Romeo with Bran and Ollie. Bran potentially could have scored points at Miami, but made a mistake and crashed into the wall and lost his wheel, so they only have 14 points in 7th. Then Mercedes in 8th, then with 10 points to their name, then a bit more of a gap for the McLaren of Alex Waller and Big Boy Dewin, who replaced Luke Baker with 2 points, and Ferrari still haven't scored a point this season. As we currently have 17 people in the lobby, not 7, 17. Waiting for 3 more drivers, which are, let's have a look, missing both McLarens. That is obviously Big Boy Dewin and Alex Waller. And also we're missing Red Bull, that's Cameron Armstrong. Cameron Armstrong obviously will be joining the lobby. I believe he said he can make it today. Let's have a look. Yeah, he said he can make it. Ewan obviously can't make it for McLaren today. And Lars for Ferrari can't make it today. We should have a full grid. So, looking forward for that. Just waiting for the drivers then to join as soon as possible. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on the general chat in case there's any instance and the drivers do comment about certain drivers driving, like we had last time out with Lee and Alfie and Cam. and the race start will be at 8:05. So we've got a couple more minutes then to wait then for the people to join the lobby. As apparently Curtis is looking quick around here today. Apparently he's in the 10s, from what I've been told. Some obviously the other drivers are in the low 11s, so it's obviously a very close grid. But I think it will be for the win potentially today. It'll probably be Curtis or Cameron for the win. As well, I might as well go for my qualifying prediction while I wait for the other three. My top four for the qualifying, I think Cameron will get a lap together, and I think he'll take pole with Curtis right behind him by like a couple of tenths or something like that. Potentially, if Lewis can actually nail a lap, we know what he's like, especially in Miami, where he tried to set a decent lap in the end and then crashed into the chicane and lost his wheel. Third, I'm going to go with Curtis's teammate Edward. I think he could potentially get third. Fourth, on the other hand, it's in between Millum, Alfie, and potentially Fergus Wilson if he could get a lap in. I think I'm going to give it Millum. I think Millum, obviously, still being in the Leaders' Championship, got a point to prove this season. I think he'll probably take fourth. Trying to push as much as he can. So that will be my top four for qualifiers. Now we have another person who's just joined. I believe that is the Red Bull of Cameron Armstrong. It is. So we're just missing the McLaren. The McLaren pairing, which if I have a look in the announcement, the availability, the guys who are meant to be in the McLarens, nobody, but we've meant to have actually Billy Mossam and Snooky in the Ferraris today, which they are. As I'll just read that message, what Brand's put. Am I ready for... And Sandra's saying, Curtis, the bottle 2 times during the race? I think maybe more than 2 times, Sandra. You know what he's like, but I'm going to say you're going to get DSQ'd from the race as, you stack up the penalties a lot. And Brand's... Brand not winning today, Brand. There's no way. You've got more chance of, Everton winning the Premier League than you winning a race in IRL. But, anything can happen. While we'll wait for the last McLaren to join. So Vizier will be in one of the McLaren seats today. I'll just try and see who will be in the other McLaren. It hasn't been announced, so I think we're just waiting for one reserve. I think any reserve potentially will get that for today. So it's being a fast happening, we'll be carried over to round 5. Lee apparently, I believe, if I'm reading this correctly, Lee actually has a 5-second penalty which is going to be carried over for today. Yes, he has, and obviously Alfie had his penalty added to his time. Same with Cameron had a penalty for the Miami as well. As we're now going into the qualifying session. Just making sure there's no other penalties which are going to be carried over. No, I believe it's only Lee's penalty who is carrying over then. So he has a 5-second for today. While we load into the quality session then. I'll wait for people to pick their tyre allocations. Obviously, a lot of people will be going softer. As I've said before, a few people might choose the hard or the balanced strat. 20 seconds remaining then till we go into quali. Just waiting for Lee, Billy, Alfie. Well, Alfie's ready up now, and Cameron Armstrong now to ready up. Let's now go into quali then. And it is raining in the session, so no dry times at all then it looks like. Unless the rain does die down later on in the session. But at the moment it's currently into conditions, it looks like. There's a lot of all the drivers are on intermediates. But yeah, this will be our first intermediate conditions in quali. Obviously, we had them in the pre-season round at Portimao. We had some mixed conditions. Nobody's leaving the pits as of yet, as they're probably now tweaking the strategy, tweaking the setup a little bit, as actually Billy Mossam is leaving the pit lane already for Ferrari. So maybe he already had a setup ready in case it was going to rain. We'll go on board with him, as he will be the first one. We also see a Mercedes leaving the pit lane as well. There's also a AlphaTauri straight away out of the garage, and I believe that is Cameron Young, the guy who won last season's championship. And he is the first one out then to obviously set a provisional time. So then Cameron is out on track, and the conditions do not look great at all. So it's going to be interesting how the drivers are going to be able to adapt to these conditions with their setup, especially if some of them are in a dry setup compared to a intermediate or a wet setup. Because never know, the race could be dry, so they might be risking the setup for the quali session, which could spice it up a little bit. But right now then, as we're on board with Cameron, as a lot more people are leaving the garage as we speak. Still a couple of people still in the pits. Maybe they're waiting later on in the session potentially for the rain to die down. But I don't see, at the moment, it doesn't look like it's going to die down. I think these conditions are going to be all the way through this qualifying session. As we go through the double left-hander, where traction, especially in these conditions, are going to be crucial. Now into the right, and also with the new updated Spain track as well, with the double right-hander, which is usually flat in the dry, but in the intermediates, I don't know if it will be or not. But Cameron then is going to be the first to start a flying lap. We see a Red Bull leaving the pit lane. So we'll go on board with Cameron then. Down long straight he goes. See what his top end speed is down the straight in these conditions. 193, hits the brakes on into 1. Rides the curb into 2, gets set up for turn 3. Long right-hander, maintains his throttle nice and tight there. Doesn't lose the back end or anything like that. Perfect traction for the Alpha. End of sector 1 is a 23.7. Don't know if that's good or not at the moment. There's a bit of potential wheel spin there at the back end as we go on a broadcast shots through the left-hander. Got to keep it within track limits. He does, which is good. Now through turns 7 and 8. There's yellows in sector 1. I believe that's a Ferrari going slowly. Potentially Billy Mossam there. Maybe made a mistake on the Mercedes. Now into the right-hander. Not too bad there in this second sector. 56.4 in the second sector. Still yellows in sector 1. It's Naston going slowly. I think Donut Denham's doing donuts again. Now into the final sector where you just got to hopefully get the best line and best amount of speed through the final sector as he hits the final corner then to the line. It's going to be a 120.9. Obviously he can go again. Obviously he needs to save his battery a little bit. The Haas then is next. I believe that was Millam. Yes, Millam does a 120.990. Only a couple of hundredths there off Cameron Young. Williams then is next off Edward. Lewis Curtis currently in the second sector. We're going to go on board with Lee Kelly, who's coming to the line now. Let's see what he can do. He goes fourth quickest with a 121.3. Then we have another Alfa Romeo going next, which I believe was Ollie, but I'm guessing he invalidated. So we're going to go on board with Vizier, who is the next McLaren to the line. And I believe Ushin is next. Vizier goes 6th. Ushin then. He goes in 7th. I'll go on board with Brand then. He comes to the line. Let's see what he can do. He moves to 5th. What about Curtis? Has he got a potential time to take poles? He runs completely off the track. Somehow not invalidated. He takes provisional pole. I don't know if that will be investigated, but he was completely off the track there. Should have lost a bit more time than what he did. But he is, at the moment, on provisional pole as we see a couple more drivers setting times. Billy's time is definitely a banker, 153, especially with Don Denham as well. He's on a banker. All right, now we're going to go on board with, is it Cameron Armstrong? No, Cameron Armstrong's in the pit still. Ollie currently in the second sector, currently in 18th position. As he's actually just chilling off the lap, it looks like. He's just come off, as Cameron's just done a 20.709, so he's now taken provisional yet again. Let's go on board with the old man himself, the owner of the league, Sandro Sohal, currently in 14th with no lap time set, and he's already off the track after he's coming back since he missed the last round at Miami. But it isn't invalidated. Hopefully I don't think he is going to continue with a lap. I hope he doesn't. But we're going to go on board with Alfie then. Currently in the final sector right now. He's got a bit of traffic behind him and a bit of traffic ahead. He's got the Alpha right on his tail. I believe that could be Ollie Flavel or Brandon. And the Alpha's in the pit lane then. So here comes Alpha then round the final corner. Let's see what he can do as the Aston Martin is next to set a actual lap. And Alfie does a 21.6. So moves into 10th position. Is that Tony then? It is Tony. So is Tony actually going to do a lap this time? As the past couple of rounds, he's either about to set a lap and then either makes a mistake, or he just doesn't want to set a lap at all and just gets an amazing start in the race and actually gets some good solid points and invalidates. So probably the answer to my question. We're going on board with Fergus. He is on a lap right now as he's got a slow car ahead of him. That is a Haas pulling to the left side there, just moving out of his way. Now from out of Ollie, I believe, is just up the road. And now into the right hander he goes, avoids the curb altogether, keeps his foot onto the throttle. Down the second DRS zone around here, potential overtaking the opportunity. Millam, it sets the provisional pole position with a 20.2 there, a lot of time he's found there compared to Cameron with a 20.7. As the track is improving, but Ferguson really struggling there with the rear end a little bit. And he invalidates as well, so that isn't going to help either. What about Edward? Is he still on the lap? No, he's backed off in the end after his last lap. I don't think Alfie's going for another one. Is he going for... I think he is. Alfie is going for another run, actually. Round the final corner he goes. He's basically out of battery right now. And let's see what time he's going to do. And it's going to be a 21 flat there. Moves into P6. A couple of hundredths off Ollie Favell. A couple of tenths, obviously, off his teammate. But not a bad time as Mumford, I believe, just moved to 8th position. Jumping Edward in 9th. As Snooks is currently in 13th. There's the guys who haven't set times yet at the moment. It's Alex Waller, Cameron Armstrong, Fergus Wilson and Tony. Right now, though, we're going to go on board with Fergus Wilson, as I believe he is on a timed lap. He hasn't got that much battery to spare. As the first of the couple laps he potentially has gone for is just not gone together. And actually, I don't think he actually is on a time lap because he's just saving battery now. Which is a shame. We'll go on board with Tony then, currently in the second sector. And there's Donut Denham doing spins yet again. Slowing down there for traffic. And probably trying to find a slot so he can start his next flying lap. As Tony then in a bit of traffic of his own. He's got a Williams ahead of him. Now, is that Curtis potentially? Now, Tony's backed off then, in the end. Is that Edward or is that Curtis? It's actually Curtis, who's just started another lap. We'll go on board with Curtis in a sec then. I was on board with his teammate right now, currently in 10th with a 121.2. Ushin, I believe, just moved to 11th, or Lordy's just moved up. No, it's definitely Ushin then, who's just moved to 11th then with that time, with a 21.365. Not that far off Edward, but obviously times will improve, and I believe Snookster or somebody's just set a lap. I don't know who that was. It might have been... Well, Cameron Armstrong's definitely just taken pole. That's a 20.109. Not a bad lap there from the Red Bull. Still looking quick after Qatar and Miami. It's definitely looking hungry and potentially an underdog for this Drivers' Championship. But right now, then, we're on board of Edward, then, currently in the second sector. Let's see what he does in the second sector. It's currently a 57.6. He's 7/10 down on his PB, so I'm guessing he's not on a actual quick lap. So we'll go on board with his teammate Curtis, who's backed off then in the end. So Curtis has made a mistake. What about Brandon, then? Currently in 13th. As I've said before, he's bottled 3 attempts to win a championship. And ironically, he's got the number 3 on his car. So Brandon, currently in the second sector, passing the little chicane there. Now going through the the right-hander, then pushing a bit of traffic ahead of him with the Aston Martin. And I don't know who that is as well. That is a Mercedes actually going slowly. Into the long left. And I think takes it pretty decently there into 4th. In the right-hander, he's got a bit more traffic ahead of him. There's an Aston going slow. Oh, Brand makes a big error there, and that's not going to help his quali run. Currently yells in Sector 3 with that Aston going slow. I believe that is Donut Denham. Now here comes Brand then, to the line. And the time is not a bad one, 20.9. In sense, definitely got a lot of time to find, especially in that third sector with that error he made right now. As we're going board back on with Curtis then, let's see what he can do. See if he can take provisional pole. Currently provisional pole is a 20.109. Then it's Millam in second with a 20.2. And then there's a bit of a gap between Millam and Cameron. is now on an out lap as well. Lee Kelly is on a lap as well, as right now I believe he's just coming across that lap, unless that is Millen. No, that's Millen now just coming across the line. And Curtis has a purple first sector. He's 1.5 tenths up in the first sector right now, as he just passed around there. Now into the hairpin left. Keeps it nice and tidy, actually. Very easy there from the Williams, as he's potentially catching up with Lee Kelly just ahead of him, who's also on a timed lap. So let's see what Lee can do in the second sector. We'll see what their second sector splits are, actually. So Lee's going to do a 56.6, and Lee's down right now. And, wow, okay. Curtis is on a 55.8, so Lee's apparently quicker in the second sector, with Curtis making a little error there. But apparently it was pulled. There's an AlphaTauri going slowly. Now, is that Brandon then, or not Brandon, Alfie then going off the track? And the final corner goes Curtis. Lee's just peeled into the pits then. So here comes Curtis then, and his provisional pole, 20 flat there. So he's now set the pace for quali. And I believe that was not Karen, it was Alfie then who did spin it. Well, let's have a board with the defending champion this season. He won it last season, obviously, trying to win a back-to-back champion. He's currently purple in the second sector. Found 2 tenths in this second sector alone right now, which, obviously, if you finish the lap as it is, it'd be a 20.5. So he needs to find a lot more time in the final sector, as there's yellows for the Ferrari in the sector 1. Now, so here comes Cameron then. Round the final corner he goes. Let's see what he can do then. To the line, not DRS actually because it's raining, but to the line, and it's a 20.2 there, so only goes 4th quickest, but 4.5 tenths improvement there. So he can't be too disappointed. He's found a lot of time, but probably was looking for that pole position potentially. But we're going to go on board with Lordy then, one of the directors of IRL. Currently in the first sector, 1200ths down on his lap time. Let's see what he can do in the second sector. His current time is 21.4, which isn't bad compared to some of the other drivers who are in 22s to the 23. Sondre hasn't done a bad lap either. He's currently 11th with a 21.1. As Cameron Armstrong's peeled into the pit lane. Felix Wilson's still going round, currently in 20th. So the race winner from last weekend is currently in 20th right now, which he probably doesn't want to do. And Tony's currently 18th with a 26.4. And there's an Aston yet again going slowly. Is that Ross again? It's actually Tony this time, so he's made a mistake somewhere. Lordy then, through the final sector, let's see if he actually improves his time. As we have 5 minutes from in there, ooh, makes a bit of an error there before approaching the long right-hander into the next right-hander. The final 2 corners, he is going to finish the lap. Is it going to be an improvement? Lordy to the line. And it's a 21.1, 3 tenths improvement there, goes 11th quickest, a bit quicker than Sondre in 12, so not a bad lap time there from the Mercedes. What about Fergus Wilson? He is currently on a timed lap, 23.5, a 56.7 in the second sector right now from the Red Bull driver. Let's see what he can do through the final sector, as he's really struggling with that rear end of the Red Bull. He's definitely using a dry setup as he runs completely off the track there. Somehow keeps it within track limits, and I think he's lifted off in the end and going to peel into the pit lane as he does. So respectful driving there from Fergus Wilson. I believe that is Brazia then coming to the line. Let's see what he can do then. He's got 80% ERS. He's currently on a 21.1. I think he's now actually going to go on a proper lap this time, as Williams, I believe, is going to start his lap as well. I believe that is Edward coming across the line now. Actually, no, that wasn't it. That's both Alpines actually starting more laps. It's Mumford and Sondra then beginning their potential final flying laps of the session. As the McLaren currently 13th. Let's see what he can do in his final attempt potentially. Has he lifted off? No, he's still pushing. Battery is burning, so he actually is still on the lap. Into the left-hander he goes as Lordy peels into the pit lane to get ready for his final lap in this quali session, as we have an AlphaTauri, Red Bull and an Aston, with the other AlphaTauri now peeling into the pits as well. Currently on provisional pole is Lewis Curtis with Cameron Armstrong, not that far behind with Millam also, and Cameron, top 4, very close. So what Vizier can do in the second sector, and it's a 57.3, and he's 6.5 tenths off his time, so I think his lap in the end isn't going to go ahead. Sondre's backed off. He must have made a big mistake. Oh, is that Lee then coming across, coming past them now? So both Alpines making errors, which isn't good for them, as they've got to get a better lap potentially improve their positions. As let's see what Lee Kelly can do. Currently in 7th with a 120.7. Around the final 2 corners he goes. Doesn't peel into the pit, so this is the lap he's going to do then. To the line. Let's see what he can do. And it's going to be a 120.607 then. Goes 5th quickest there. Couldn't find any more time to improve. Ollie's still in 6th right now. The Red Bull of Cameron Armstrong coming to the line actually. And he now takes provisional pole with a 19.6 there. So time's found a lot of time there on his lap. So there's definitely more time to find for some of the drivers potentially. As the next Haas of Millen is just starting his flying lap. Alex Waller is also going to start his flying lap. Let's go on board with... Is that Snooks then in the throw? No, it's Billy. He's actually starting another lap, and I believe that's Ross right behind him. It is. And the Williams there of Edward now coming to the line. And he goes 3rd quickest with a 120.190. So not a bad lap there from Edward. Not enough for one final attempt potentially. As I think that is Ollie then coming to the line. And no improvement, but still got enough battery left to do one more lap around the track. As Snooks then has lost his front wing actually. He's got no front wing on the car at all, and that's his qualifying session over then. Potentially 15th, could drop further behind. As the next driver, which I'll quickly get up, I believe, is Lewis Curtis. And it is Lewis Curtis, but he actually isn't on a timed lap, so we'll have to wait later on in the session as we've got both Alpines next then. Of Mumford and Sondre. Sondre currently 12th, Mumford 8th. Let's see what the Alpine pair can do then. To the line they go. Let's see what Mumford can do. It's going to be a 120.808. Says 8th position, but what about Sondre? Has he found some time? No time at the moment as Ollie then is... Sorry, that's Brand there who moves to 6th. The Red Bull of Fergus Wilson just not saying a quick on. Was that Cameron Armstrong? It was Cameron Armstrong. My apologies on that. As Ushin comes to the line. No improvement as the AlphaTauri is now starting their laps. What about the Haas there of Lee? Is that, or is that Millen? That's Millen now coming to the line. He was on a time lap. Going to get it together then in the end. And the Ferrari of Billy is next up to the line and stays P17 at the moment as we go on board with Ollie Favell then currently in 8th with a 120.6 peels into the pit lane. What about Edward? Is he still going? Yes, he is. He's going to start his last attempt then for flying laps, so he will be the potential last driver coming to cross the grid as the yellows in sector 1 and 2 now. As there's a McLaren going slowly, some of the guys are retiring in the pit lane. As let's have a look at Fergus Wilson. Where is he on track right now? Currently in sector 2 as there's a Haas actually lost the wheel. Hang on a minute, it looks like an Alpine and a Haas have come together. But what about Edward's teammate? Here comes Lewis Curtis and still no lap. He didn't go for it in the end and well, stays in 2nd. Could drop a couple of positions if a couple of people improve. And speaking about improvements, Mumford, is it? Oh no, Mumford actually looks like he's been the one who's collected a potential driver, and he's got a 5-grid place penalty then in this quali as Sondre moves into P10 at the moment. As we go on board with Lodi, it's Cameron Armstrong then takes yet another chunk of time out of Curtis at 119.415. So he's really picking up the pace in this quality. Ushin moves to P7. But what can the other Mercedes do of Lodi then? Coming to the line, and it's going to be 12th then with a 120.836. I thought there'd have been a bit more time on that lap as Fergus Wilson then moves to 10th with a 120.695. As we're going to go on board with the Ferrari of Billy. He is improving apparently by 6/10 then. And to the line is 22.8, so he does improve but doesn't gain a position. What about Alex Waller then? Invalidated, so he will be starting at the back of the grid. And I believe that is quality over, as Mumford's definitely got some questions to ask the Alpine and the Alpha and the Haas team, definitely, with that wing damage and the 5-grid place he's got. Stewards will definitely have a look at that. And hopefully Mumford actually isn't the one in the wrong, but he's got to be careful with his instance as he's pulling off the track. He can retire, so... Oh, he has retired, actually, I just realised. Well, while we're waiting then for the last driver who has now actually retired. That is your qualifying order. Obviously, should results for the next round with potential quali bans and penalties. Obviously, you have to wait for the next round for that. But then while we wait for the leaderboard to come up then, here it is then. So Cameron Armstrong takes provisional pole. He's definitely looking hungry for this championship and definitely an underdog as well, with both Williams drivers right behind him, with Edward in 2nd, Lewis Curtis 3rd, Cameron Young in 4th. Millen wants to take another victory to his name in 5th. Brandon then, decent qualifying result for once, in 6th position. Ushin gets better than his teammate in 7th. Lee in 8th. Ollie in 9th. Fergus Wilson not that bad in 10th, but could do better since he won last weekend. Mumford in 11th. Questions going to be asked. Sondra 12th. Lordy 13th. Alfie 14th. Vizier 15th. Donut Denham is 16th. Snooks is 17th with no front wing. Bailey 18th. And Tony 19th. And Alex Waller with no lap times set will be starting at the back of the grid. As well, waiting my race prediction, I'm going to go with Curtis winning, Cameron 2nd, Edward 3rd. I'm going to go Cameron Armstrong 4th. I think that's the top 4 for today. I think with the way quality's gone, I think that's how the event's going to turn out, as skies are clear for the race. Obviously, it doesn't mean there isn't a threat of rain near the end of the session, but right now, skies are clear and people can actually show their true pace on their dry setups. While we wait for people to pick their allocations, the race strat, fuel loads, any adjustments to the front wing potentially, anything like that while we wait for the drivers. But yeah, Curtis is my favourite to win the race for today. As long as he doesn't bottle. He's had chances to win the race before and he's either binned it on the final corner on like the first lap or he's been taken out. So, or he's messed up quality where it's actually kind of screwed him for the win like he did last weekend. But yeah, Curtis is definitely the favourite for the win today, but we should be going underway now, and the race is going away. We're meant to have a formation lap, hasn't been on, but we have 5 red lights then, round number 5 at Spain. And we're underway then. It looks like the Red Bulls had a decent start. Both Williams pairing as well. And the Haas and the Mercedes in the background. All kicking it off down the straight. And, oh, I thought there was an incident in the background with the McLaren, but it isn't. Let's look at the Alpha. Sorry, then going for the lead into 1. Trying to shove his nose in with the soft tyres, interestingly enough. And, well, basically, Cameron Armstrong's just been eaten up there. And drops to 4th, hits the rear end of Curtis, as there's been a potential incident in the background. And yes, there is an incident. Ollie Favell has dropped all the way to the back with Fergus Wilson. And these two couldn't have lost before in China. Definitely going to be investigated later in the race. But currently, Edward into the lead on the hard compound tyres. Cameron couldn't get the job done on the soft compound on the start, which isn't good for him. Obviously, he will have the advantage at the start of this race. Is he potentially going soft hard, or is he potentially trying to two-stop? Or is there a threat of rain earlier on than I thought there would be? But right now, he's currently trying to challenge for the lead of this race. We're on lap number 1 right now. So, is he going to go for a potential dive? No, he waits his turn, and Edward's trying to pull him along, but you can just see the grip difference compared to the hard and the soft compound. As Lordy moved now to 10th, and he's scrapping away with the other AlphaTauri in the background. He's on the mediums, both Merc and AlphaTauri on the mediums, going side by side there through the right-hander, and the Alpine there win. In the mix is a Mumford, and he's right on the tail of Lordy right now as we go back on board with the race lead, as Cameron Young has moved into the lead. Cameron Armstrong moved to 3rd. Now he wants 2nd. Looking hungry. Around the outside he's going. Yellows in the 3rd sector. Ooh. I think 50-50 on that as Millam cheekily moves into 3rd position. So Millam is also on the soft compounded tyre, and he's also looking quick right now. Obviously, Edwards playing the longer game. And Millam's trying to go around the outside, and Cameron Young, the bottle himself, has bottled it round here and has dropped all the way at the back of the grid. So the softs for him are just not working on lap number 2, and Millam is now fighting for the lead. And Cameron's definitely going to be disappointing himself with that, as now Edward and Cameron Armstrong scrapping away side by side. They're going a bit of contact. Oh, and Edward's hit him a little bit there. It looks like a bit of a racing incident, in my opinion, and Edward is out of the race. They were side by side. I think just a little bit of the tap from the Red Bull. It wasn't the Red Bull's fault, really. Just a little tap on the right hander, the way the corner goes. And unfortunately, Edward was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's him out. And yet again, more bad luck for the Williams driver. Although, right now, I'll tell you who's having a lot of good luck is the Haas pairing. Right now, 1st and 2nd. And, well, that was an early safety car on lap number 3, so no DRS will be available. And, well, Lordy and Cameron into the pit lane. If I can quickly go on board with Cameron. I don't believe he's got any type of damage, neither has the Merc, as Lordy's going on the hard compounded tyre. Favell also in the pits. He's got a 5 second for speeding. How have you managed to speed under the safety car in the pits? That's what I'd like to know. As Cameron Young then leaving the pit lane he goes, so he'll be behind Lordy, a bit annoyed with himself. Obviously he's on the mediums though, maybe he's thinking, let's go medium to the end if he's got the spare set of mediums, which I do believe is possible, to be fair. Millam's staying out on the soft, same with Donut Denham and Alex Waller, they're also on the soft compound. A lot of people staying out who are already on mediums and hard, which is obviously the better call, as the safety car is earlier on. I don't believe the hards can go to the end from this distance. But I have been proven wrong before, as you do remember at Qatar. Cameron Armstrong actually proved me wrong with the soft tyres, how long they were going and how much pace he still had in them. Right now then, we're under safety car conditions. The Haas are currently in a 1-2 with Lewis Curtis then, who is also a favourite for the Drivers' Championship this season. Currently in third. He needs to be where he needs to be, right? He needs to get past Lee, he needs to get past Millam, obviously, to try and get some more points for himself. But he's going to take a big chunk out of Cameron Young. Obviously, he needs to get ahead of Millam to gain a bit of points on him as well. But right now then, first retirement, if you've just missed out on that, is Edward. Cameron Armstrong was going for the move through the right-hander in the second DRS zone. And it's just the way the corner was. I don't know if there was a bit of desync or anything like that, but I think it was just bad timing for the Williams and the Red Bull. I don't think it was deliberate or anything like that. He didn't turn left with the wheel or anything like that. I think it was just a unlucky racing incident. Obviously, the stewards will look into that as the Haas of Millam in the pit lane then. So he's decided, you know what, maybe I should have pitted the last lap. Let's go and pit. Let's go on the different compounded tyre. Let's see what we can do. And Millam leaving the pits in 14th. Behind him, he has Donut Denham, Lordy, Ollie, Alex, and Billy Mossam in the pits. And Ollie obviously trying to serve his 5 second, which I believe has actually been served. Let's have a look. Yes, it did get served on. So his 5 second has been served. Lee's actually trying to overtake the safety car. I wouldn't do that because you will get DSQ'd from the game. Actually, you did that before, I believe, or that was, I believe, Lux or Joe Hollis in Season 5 IRL F2, where one of the drivers overtook the safety car and didn't realise it did, and then slammed the brakes, caused a massive accident. Hopefully nobody does that today. But right now then, Lee in the lead, Curtis second, Cameron Armstrong, who's been really quick the past couple of rounds, looking for another decent result today. Brandon Glove, actually, surprisingly, is currently in 4th position. Now, he said he's potentially going to get the win. I don't know if he was joking or not, but right now, he's in a good position in 4th, could still have a chance to win the race. I have to eat my own words if he does win. But good luck to him if he can, as the safety car will be in this lap then. So Lee will be in control of this safety car restart, as we will be going back to green flag racing very soon, as he's preparing his tyres, preparing his time to go. Let's see what he can do then in the next couple of laps. See if he can hold the lead from Curtis or Cameron Armstrong in the background, because they're probably very hungry to try and get ahead of him and pull a gap. Let's see what Lee can do then. Round the final 2 corners he goes before we're about to go full throttle. And he's gone. Lee has bolted, and let's see what he can do. As he managed to pull Curtis away, he has pulled everybody else away except Curtis. Cameron Armstrong dropped back a little bit, and Curtis was ready for that restart. So we're back to green flag racing, and green, as Lee goes all the way down into one. We see Brandon dropping positions already to Ushin potentially in turn 1, but Brandon goes a bit deep. Ushin trying to switch back on the medium compound, trying to find a gap, trying to find a hole anywhere around Brandon, but has to stay behind him at the moment. Look at Cameron Armstrong, look at Lewis Curtis already pulling away, almost a second away from Brand. We've seen almost 3 wide opportunity there. Alfie trying to make a move on the Mercedes there of Ushin. Snookser dropping to 11th with Tony. Another decent start to the race in 10th position. This guy can just start back of the grid all the time and get a good result. Fergus and Cameron Young are going a bit of wars right now, as Cameron Young has moved into 12th position. He's definitely hungry to get some positions up the road now. He's got Bill Snookser just ahead of him. Oh, the McLaren is going slowly there, and the Alpine, had to avoid the McLaren, and it kind of shoves the Ferrari into bad position. Cameron's not in a good position. He has to lift a little bit. He's going for the dive. Is he going to go for it? Yes, he is. Around the inside he goes on the Ferrari, and Fergus Wilson side by side they go, and Cameron Young makes a double overtake, a very solid overtake indeed. And now Millam trying to go around the outside of the Ferrari as well, as the Alpine of Sondre Sohaug trying to defend his position from Cameron Young. Is he going to be able to match the defending champion this season speed, or will Sondre be able to pull a masterclass strategy? Here comes Cameron then, down the straight he goes, he's gaining the speed. Alex Wall's got a 3-second penalty. Here comes Cameron Young now, making a move, moves into P10, potentially trying to go alongside, trying to get the car just ahead to potentially dive it into the corner. Sondre just gives up then in the end, and he now has to watch out for the Red Bull and behind Fergus Wilson now Millam, potentially the Ferrari in the background as well, so he's got to not drop too many places. as his confidence level will just drop completely. And now Millam's trying to make it work, and Millam has just schooled Sondra there a little bit. Compared to Sondra, experience now Fergus Wilson and them going side by side now into the left-hander. Will Millam get the move round the outside? Fergus Wilson kind of shoves him off, but Millam's still there, trying to keep the car under control, keep it within the track limits. They do, still side by side. He backs off at the moment. Is he going to get the next bite of the cherry? But right now, going to go on board with Cameron Young now, trying to make a move for P9. Really trying to make this overtake work. Millam still scrapping away with Fergus Wilson in the background. A bit of wheel banging yet again between the Red Bull and the Haas driver. Here comes Cameron Young then. On the inside, shoves the McLaren off. Now, he's done that before, and he's done that to me, and he's been given a 5-second penalty for that, so he's got to be careful making those silly overtakes, shoving people off the track, because it isn't really allowed. But Fergus then, in the 10th, Bazia trying to bat away with Millam. Millam trying to make a move after a bit of shoving as well with the Red Bull. Lee Kelly still holding the lead at the moment. Cameron Armstrong not that far behind. We'll keep an eye on this, but Millam now making a move on the McLaren for P11, and I think there's a massive train in the background there as well with Donut Denham, Sondre, Lordy, Snookster all trying to pass the McLaren and the Red Bull. Millam makes the move go as they go on board with the McLaren, and there's a Mercedes off the track there. I think Snookster, by mistake, took out Lordy, and Bazia lose the position there. Now Sondre could potentially be on the attack for P13. Let's have a look on board with Lordy right now, actually. We'll just make sure he ain't got any damage to the front wing, and I don't think he has, but he's definitely lost a chunk of time, and he's probably going to be hoping for a safety car later on in this race to try and come back to potentially score some points. So while now everything is cooled down a little bit, we've still got a lot of action in the back field. We're going to keep an eye on the lead. Right now, Lee Kelly still in the lead, Curtis second, Cameron Armstrong in third. Ushin not that far behind, 1.2 seconds gap, Alfie in fifth, Brandon sixth, as Sondre Sog is out. Sondre Sog is out of the race. And there we go. The safety car has been deployed. So as I said, there was potential of another safety car and has been deployed. It looks like Sondre's lost the exact same area where Edward lost it. And that's Sondre's race already done and dusted. So that isn't good for Sondre. As well, he's going to be a bit annoyed with himself. But Lee, Curtis, Cameron Armstrong all peeling into the pits in under this safety car. As well, also Fergus Wilson's peeling in the pits. So the Red Bull are double stacking. And well, Ushin is now in the lead of this race. So the top three, Ushin, Alfie, Brad. Lee Kelly leaving the pit lane. Lloyd's going to gain a couple of positions. Lee's got to be careful he don't go across that white line. If he goes across that white line, that will be a pen. Curtis then drops to 12 with Cameron Armstrong in 13th. So he did with that pit stop. Fergus is being held up by a lot there. Moves drop down to 15th. Vazia 16th. Billy 17th. And Donut Denham then at the back of the grid in 18th on the medium compound of tyres. I don't believe they can make the distance. 8. No, I think he will have to potentially make another stop. I think he could potentially make them to the end, but I think they won't last the pace-wise to that end. They'll be dead right at the end of the stint. But right now, though, we have Mercedes in the lead. Ushin then, guy who looked the favourite at one point at Qatar, potentially winning the race, then realised he didn't have enough. Oh, he's off the track now. Realised he didn't have enough fuel in the race, so he had to actually just slow down, back the car up, and I believe in the end he did retire in the actual race. He was not having enough fuel to the end of the race to go, which was a shame for him because he actually did look like he had some solid pace, potentially get the win. And then it opened the door for Cameron Armstrong just to fly through the field and maintain a gap between him and Cameron Young, who had that 6-second penalty where Cameron Armstrong had no penalty. And obviously Cameron Young was a bit annoyed with his teammate not helping with the team orders, but Alfie wanted that extra position on his teammate and he got it due to the penalties. But right now then, second safety car has been deployed. Hopefully it is the last safety car because we don't want too many safety cars and driving standards dropping a little bit. Because there'll be a few incidents investigated, definitely with that. So I'm just going to have a look, see if anybody's set out in the Discord. Potentially Edward, if anybody. Let's have a look. Race week. Yeah, Edward's definitely not happy. So actually it might have been worse than what I said it was. Maybe Cameron did actually tap Edward a bit more than I thought he did. So I might have got the right end of the stick on that side. But obviously we'll see what happens in the stewards. It definitely will be investigated, it looks like, from them too. Especially Edward coming to blows. Not happy with Cameron Armstrong. But that's what happens in racing. You can't always be happy. As Ushin then in the lead. as I've said. Alfie second, Brand third, Mumford fourth, Tony fifth, Cameron Young in sixth then. So after the bit of incident he had, he's now in the sixth place. Millam in seventh after pitting from the lead. Snooks to eighth, looking potentially for some more points in his second race for IRL. Oifo in ninth, so he's trying to score some points for Alfa Romeo as long as his team is currently in third. Alex Waller then trying to score some more points for McLaren in 10th position. The safety car will be in this lap then. So I know, so that was your top 10. So then, as it stands, my favourite to still win this race, I'm still going to go with Kurse. I think Kurse will just fly through the field still and take the victory for today. But enough of that. Back to the live action of Ushin in the lead with Alfie in second. Unfortunately, I'm going to say no to that, as I do prefer doing it on my own. As it would be best for you to cool down after the altercation you had with Cameron Armstrong. But back to the restart then, as we go back underway. And Ushin's left it really late, to be fair. And very interesting strategy he's made there, but he's gone. And Alfie then, right on his tail, with Brandon. Oh, Brandon is in a lot of trouble right now. He's got Tony, he's got the Alpine, he's got the AlphaTauri right ahead of him. And, and Mumford whacks him, man. As Brandon then trying to hold the positions he's got. I think there's been an incident potentially in the background, but Brand's trying to go back for it alongside Tony. These two came to blows in Miami in the chicane. And well, Bran alongside Ushin making a bit of an error there, and Bran is through, almost shoves Tony completely off there as well. To be fair, there's Mumford and Tony, Mumford and Millen now going side by side. Bran now trying to make a move on the Alpine with Cameron waiting in the mix. He doesn't want to be in another incident where he loses a bit of front wing or has to avoid an incident getting a penalty. As Billy picks up a penalty right now, 3 seconds, and the fight's really heating up. Brand just doesn't look like he's got the straight line speed compared to everybody else on the mediums. And Cameron's now making a move, and here comes Millen. Millen back into the mix. Potentially going to go around the outside. Oh, has to adjust his wheel a little bit there to avoid the contact with the Alfa Romeo. And right now, let's see what Millen can do then. Round the final corner, is he going to get a good exit compared to Brand? He's getting closer, to be fair on him. And he looks like he's going to make the move, and yes he is, easy peasy lemon squeezy, and he's through into P5, and Brandon then drops to 6th. As, well, this is definitely not going the way Brand wants it to go. Cameron then, he's got a point to prove. He knows he can win a race. It looks like he's going to try and win it today. He's now making a move on Tony. Tony trying to close the door, but Cameron's still there, now alongside, he dives it, makes the move, and now is his teammate going to follow team orders? As people might say it might be still a bit early on, but Cameron is the number one driver, as he says he is. But to be fair on Alfie, he's in a good position. Would he really compromise his position for Cameron for the race? We'll have to wait. As we're on lap number 11, could be a potential AlphaTauri 1-2, which would be good for them in the Constructors, as they'll extend their lead. Ushin then still leads. Brandon now in a bit of trouble with Millen. Lee Kelly now, not Millen. Lee is in the 7th. Bran is just dropping like flies right now. All the way down to P8. Cameron ready and waiting. Probably going to let his teammate go for the first move. Oh, Alfie gets a shocking exit there. What was that? That was a terrible exit there from Alfie, but he's with the slipstream alone. It's still helping him, and Cameron's boxing his teammate in. He's not letting him go. And, well, Alfie's probably going to be a bit annoyed with that. Oh, my God, Cameron looked like he was going to run in the back end of the Merc. And, well, Millen and Tony now still scrapping away in the background between these two, with Curtis not that far behind. And now Curtis is getting into the mix with Tony. He now wants to make a move. He is on the quicker tyre, and we've seen Curtis on a quicker tyre before, where is that Alfie there making another error? I thought that was Cameron. Cameron now trying to make a move on Ushin there. But as I was saying, we saw Curtis in Austria going a bit earlier on the stint on the mediums, and he was just ridiculously quick at one point in the race. Is he going to be able to do that again? Right now, though, Millen looking for a potential another win right now. Same with Cameron. Cameron's looking for a win this season. Ushin is trying his best to keep the car behind him. But I don't think he's going to be able to hold him back for long. And Cameron will not be waiting. He's definitely annoyed with some of the driving standards today. Definitely wants to make a move, though, quickly. He's lining him up. He lifts off a little bit there. Now he's in a bit of trouble with Millen, it looks like. in the end, the exit was alright, but it looked like he just lifted off, and he's gone for the move. He's gone for it. And now he moves in the second. Millam now wants a taste of this. Millam is going for it. He's potentially going to go on board alongside Cameron. Ooh, very close there between the two. Millam, Cameron, scrapping for the lead. Ushin in third, as I said, couldn't hold the guy behind him in the end, and he drops to third position, so he lost 2 positions there, and now looks like he's going to lose a third to Curtis now, and potentially Lee Kelly. Lee Kelly now showing some strong pace, and Tony and Brand dropping a bit behind there from Ushin and Lee Kelly, and Lee's going for it. Lee's making the move, and he's alongside Ushin, going side by side. Let's see who's going to be ahead of the other, and ironically, Lee's on the hard compound, so the hard tyres are working a treat for the Haas right now, and moves to 4th. On lap 13, Ushin has dropped all the way to 5th in 1 lap. And Curtis now buying his time, saving up his battery compared to the top 2. Got a brilliant shot there of the outside rear end as Tony defending from Ushin. Actually, not overtaken from Ushin, actually. So Ushin either's got an issue or he's just not got the pace compared to these guys up ahead of him. Now he's got, Alfie making a big error there. Now he's got to be careful. He's got Cameron Armstrong right behind him, who has gone for some aggressive moves before and probably will go for it again as DRS is activated. He's gaining. We've got to keep an eye on the front as well, though, with Lewis Curtis, if it lets me select Lewis Curtis. Cameron Young's dropped the second, and Millam in the lead. Ooh, now that was cheeky there from Cameron Young. Yet again, it looked like he's squeezing somebody off, and now Lee's getting in the mix. I think there's been an incident. Yes, there has been an incident. And there's now for Romeo there off the track as well of Ollie. Ooh, got to be careful with the rejoins, and they'll safe then, but ooh, very close to another safe car. Luckily there isn't. Did miss that in the end, which is a shame. Right now then, Cameron in second. Millam in the lead. I'm just saying, where was the rain, man? So Sandra was actually potentially meant to be rainy then this stint of the race. Is that why some of you guys want the soft compounded tyre? Interesting. Well, I think that might have been a glitch potentially with the graphic, but here comes Curtis. This is definitely not a glitch we're seeing. Curtis is making a move, and Cameron isn't making it life easy. Oh my god, we've got 3 wide almost into turn 1. Cameron is sending it everywhere right now. He doesn't give a damn. He wants the positions. He wants to go for it, and Millam is not letting him having it, and Curtis and Millam just split him and let him drop the third. Lee Kelly now getting into the mix. Cameron's got to keep his head cool and not get too aggressive with these overtakes right now, as he's almost shoved the car off the track, as there's more incidents further back. That's another Alfa Romeo going off the track. That's Brandon Glover. So something's really kicking off with some of the drivers. There's a Merc off the track. That is Ushin. Now I'm wondering if he's been collected in this incident as well. Interesting. It's interesting what's happening right now. That's twice Ushin's gone off, and it's twice that an Alfa Romeo's gone off in the exact same corner. And now Lee Kelly's going for it. He's going aggressive. He's going bold. Round the outside, he's potentially going to the left-lander. And he runs a bit too deep. Doesn't make it work. Goes to second gear, trying to get the rotation to stop him going off the track. And he just wants to get the position. You can just see he wants the position. He's got the fire in his eyes to overtake Cameron Young. And Cameron's just making error after error after error, it looks like, compared to the speed. And Lee trying his best to keep up with him. Millam has dropped obviously the second as we saw them to pass Cameron. So Curse must have got the upper hand then in the end. But Cameron Young is in trouble. He's got Cameron Armstrong. He's got the Haas right behind him. He's got to watch his mirrors. As we're on lap 16 out of 33. Cameron in third with Lee and Cameron Armstrong right behind him. Fergus Wilson doing a good job for Red Bull in 6th. Obviously maybe investigate later with, oh my god, Cameron's still trying to get his nose in. He wasn't really alongside there, I would say. But, and he's been taken out. I've got no comments on that. And Cameron Armstrong was at fault with the incident. But I would like to say a bit of karma for shoving 2 people off the track as well. But I think, that's definitely going to be a pen for the Red Bull again. He's going to get another 5 seconds, maybe more, with that incident. Depends how much time Cameron actually lost. And I do feel sorry for him as well, as he was trying to get his debut win this season. Has been robbed a couple of rounds with penalties, but well, yeah, it's going to be a kick in the teeth for the AlphaTauri team. But it's not a kick in the teeth for Curtis. As I said, the guy who was my favourite to win this race, currently in the lead. Lewis leads, Millam second, Yellow's in the 1. That is an Aston going slowly. That is Donut Denham. He's round, rejoins behind Mumford, and he's lost his right end plate. Interesting. Very interesting. How has he lost it? Has he been taken out potentially? No, I don't think he has. On lap 17, there's no clouds in the sky, so I wonder what Sondra was actually on about. Was there actually on the graphic a potential light rain scenario near the end of the race? Because obviously we're almost halfway roundabout. Right now, the sky is still clear. There's no threat of rain. So Curtis still leads. Got a gap of 2 seconds right now. He's really flying ahead of Millam and Lee. Lee's now starting to catch his teammates. Same with Armstrong. With Fergus Wilson. So right now the Haas pairing are looking to score some decent points, and I believe with this result it finished like this, they would obviously take the lead into constructors. Tony has now moved to P6 ahead of Alfioli there in 7th now. So Alfie is the lead AlphaTauri ahead of Cameron, who's in between these two is Vizia and Snookster in 9th. Brandon moves to 14th. Ollie now moves to 15th, so it's a double overtake for Alfa Romeo, and now Alfa Romeo are going side by side into 1. And, well, Ollie's now got the position, and Brand's just let him go. He's on the quicker tyre. But he has, to be fair, he has done 14 laps on those mediums, actually, so I wouldn't really say that the quicker tyre compared to Brand. So Brand's probably not actually going to be happy with that move in the end, as he's now under pressure from the McLaren in the background as well. Auction's done 17 laps on the mediums. Dunton's, interestingly enough, gone for soft tyres to an attempt for the fastest lap, maybe. I don't know what he's thinking. Stops it, making the distance. But right now, we're going to go on board with Lee Kelly. Cameron Armstrong is right on his tail. And, well, if Lee's not careful, Cameron Armstrong will make the move and get alongside and just fly past him. Remember, Cameron Armstrong has to now be careful with the moves because he's probably going to be investigated with the Edward incident and potentially the Ross incident, which I think is the Red Bull's fault, but as I said, I don't think it was intentional. With that, but obviously it will be looked at as Brand Peel's in the pits from the hards doing 17 laps. So interestingly, he only can do 17 laps on the hards, or has he pit yet? Actually, is this his first stop? This is his first stop, then that makes sense. Yes, his first stop. So actually, scratch that. So the hards for his scheduled stop would be this time round to go on the mediums. But he was expecting rain potentially. It looks like some of the drivers were expecting the rain, and it hasn't come. Right now, Lee trying to stay with his teammate as Snookster and Buzia scrapping away. I apologise for that. My headset decided to disconnect. But right now then, we'll go back on board with Cameron, currently in P10 right now, 6/10. The gap is, as we'll go back on the tyre graphic as well, see how old some of the guys' tyres life is. And I think Alfie will be making another stop. We'll go back on board with stops. Yeah, Tony, Alfie, Snookster, Mumford and Ushin will be pitting anyway because they've got to make the stop. Scheduled stop for the race. So Cameron's going to get a couple of positions back due to pit stops, but he's definitely out of getting a podium. There's no way unless penalties in, obviously after the race, with some of the drivers getting big pens, maybe coming to the mix. But right now, he's fighting for P9 against Snookster. We're keeping an eye on the fight for second right now. Don't's got a 3-second penalty going on a fast lap. Somehow managed to cut the corner in a final right-hander. How's he managed to do that? Now they're on board with Cam. Currently in 10th. Trying to recover as much as he can. He is catching slowly up ahead with the others. Obviously, they're still going to pit Tony and Alfie. Same with Snooks as well. He's going to pit, so he's going to get in 3 positions when they decide to peel into the pits then. And he's going to try and catch up with Razia and Millen in the pits. Interesting, Millen is decided to go over in the pit lane. Tony's now in the pits as well. So with some of these drivers potentially doing a 2-stop, not a 1-stop at all, and Cameron's been given a 5-second for speed in the pits. Just kick a guy while he's down. He's definitely not happy today. Zip goes on another set of mediums, leaves the pit lane. So actually in the end he wasn't actually going to get in those positions. He's actually fighting for 10th at the moment. Billy moves to 11th, and well, it looks like he's going to be attacking Tony very soon, but we'll be probably pitting again. Ushin's definitely pitting as well. As Lee Kelly's still in 3rd right now, currently under pressure by Fergus Wilson. We missed the overtake on Cameron Armstrong making the move on him. Fergus Wilson looks like he's next up to make the overtake. Lee in 3rd. Lee in 3rd then, in trouble. Cameron Armstrong is letting his teammate get the slip. Fergus is taking it, and Fergus is getting a lot of speed here. He might actually attempt to make an overtake on his teammate. Thought about it, stays behind. So Cameron Armstrong and Fergus move 2nd and 3rd. I think they are going to the end, potentially. There's 10 laps remaining. Yeah, I think they can do the distance, the hard compound, and now Fergus making a move to 2nd. And there we have it. The Red Bulls now switch positions. Lee then is, well, I think he's pretty safe to get some solid points on the board, unless obviously he has to pit again. And the Red Bulls already pulling away, so they're doing what they did in Miami as Brandon sets the new fast lap at 14.6. So he's set that on mediums, while Ross has still not set a good lap as Ollie peels in the pits. So I think he's going to try and steal fastest lap from anybody in case they peel in the pits for the stop. Back on board for 2nd right now. We'll keep an eye on further behind as well. That's Cameron in 10th. He did get ahead of Snooks in there, but Snooks is on the soft tyre, interestingly enough, so he's thinking the softs can go the distance. A lot of Miller and Tony on the softs as well. So maybe the thing the softs can do it. It was a risk with the pit stop. Doing this strat with the soft compounders. There's an Alfa Romeo leaving the pit lane now, and Fergs has now switched positions with Cameron Armstrong in again. I think they're just going to keep doing what they did in Miami. Snooks just passed his teammate, and he's got 2.8 seconds to catch. Millen sets Snooks fast up, 13.527 then in currently P8. Currently trying to catch up with Lordy, who will, I believe, pit again. Yellow's in sector 2. I think that's Brand just letting the lap traffic through. Brazia's now going slowly, I believe, or that might be Alex Waller right now. And to be fair for Brazil, he's in a good position. He's currently 5th. And he's probably going to the end with the Red Bull in the Haas. Curtis, on the other hand, I don't think he is going to the end. I don't know what he's doing. Both softs, and because I believe now softs should make it. They're going to be dead at the end. But there's no way you're going to be able to pull out 20-something laps on those mediums. Hards, maybe, but mediums, I don't know. He stays out for another lap as Billy gets a 3-second time penalty, and that is Cameron Young. Now, I'm no expert. I want to know how's he been there? That's what I like. That's bad. Was that deliberate? Okay. How were you losing it there? As Ross then in 15th in the end. I think there's an issue right now, just give me 1 second. So we do have a safety car then, has been called with that incident. Cameron obviously retiring. Now, I don't know if that was deliberate or not. I hope it wasn't, for his sake. Billy's now retired. No, there's no way. No, you're joking. There's no way Billy's just hit the safety car. Has Billy just hit the safety car? And yep, I think Billy hit the safety car in the end. Well, that's his race done. As Cameron has left the session, so I'm guessing that was a deliberate incident. If all's been said. As Cameron Armstrong's a bit annoyed at himself. Do apologise for that. I had some technical difficulties with the headset, but we are back. Yeah, I like to see footage of that, Edward. If it's like the Belgian one, then fair enough, but I don't know. I'm on a different controller now, so I hope it is the controller which was the issue, but if it happens again, I might have to end the stream now. I do apologise. I'm having real issues right now. The headset is just either starts to work and then just dies on me. I'm having issues with the headset. Tried on either controller, tried different headsets. Do apologise for the technical difficulties. I'll try my best to commentate this race as best as I can. Are you saying it's game audio, Ed? Was this a game issue, Edward, or? Curtis then with Fergus Wilson, 3/10 right now. Yeah, it's cracking like hell for me, Edward, and I've tried different headsets. The whole lot's the exact same. Yep. Tell me if it crackles again when I'm about to take my headset off. Tell me it keeps crackling. I think there's an issue with either the headset or it's the game. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to do comm right now because the audio's Jesus. Back to the live action. Do apologise that's an issue with the game, not the headset. So back to the live action then. Alfie currently trying to make a move on Lee Kelly for third, as the final few laps will be with no audio with the game due to an issue, which hopefully can be fixed. But right now then, Lee in fourth, trying to get ahead of Alfie now for third, trying to scrap away to get this last podium position. Right now it looks like Cameron Armstrong could potentially still win, 1.4 off Lewis Curtis. If Curtis makes another error, could potentially lead to a last little lap scrap, but it looks like Curtis is the man to win at the moment. Now the Haas pair are now going to score a lot of points in the constructors compared to the AlphaTauri team. Right now, as Alfie is the only one doing the job since Cameron is out. as we're starting lap number 32, lap of this race of 33. As Alfie's just been overtaken by Lee Kelly. Now Millen wants a bit of the action. Millen's still going side by side. We get a nice little shot there of the wheel. Trying to make a move, bit of wheel banging there. Alfie don't really want to give him that much space, to be honest. And they're still going at it, still going to war. And it looks like Lordy's trying to make a move for 6th for Tony. Trying to get through the field even more right now. Millen, Alfie. Oh, and Alfie's off the track. And Alfie's just pinned it in the wall. He's got no front wing. Well, that's Alftori's just having a bad day in the office today. They drop further behind. This helps Lordy getting some decent points, and it could get Bran a point then in 10th. But right now, one lap, as I said, lap 32, we're on board with Tony right now. I was trying to catch up with Millen, trying to get alongside before Lordy trying to make a move on him on lap 32 right now. We'll be starting lap 33 very soon to end the race. And as I said, do apologise for no audio. It's a game issue, which I always thought it was a headset issue, but it isn't, which is good. Well then, Curtis starts the last lap of the race. Gap 2 seconds, and he's got a healthy enough lead compared to the Red Bull. Tony, though, he wants the mission. He's going for it. Around the outside he goes, and he's through. And it looks like Snooks now wants a bit of Lordy. And Lordy defends, avoids Millen's rear end there on the Haas. And, well, Millen, I don't think has finished, Tony. Maybe have an attempt later on as the others in Sector 1. That's McLaren and Alpha. Well, I thought Brennan was going to get points, but, well, I think those two have come to blows, and that's ruined Vazier's day in the end. Hopefully, it was just a racing incident, but you never know. His Cameron Armstrong's picked up a 3-second pen. So, Millen, if you're going to go for it, now's the time, because if you don't, Tony's going to get that podium. Millen is right on the back end of the Aston. Is he going to go for it for the last attempt? Tony defends on the inside. It's now a nerve for Millen. Millen going for it. Going for broke. On the outside. Has he got it? Tony, kind of squeezes him off. Tony holds his line. Curtis then, we're going to go on board right now then to take the victory at Spain. And he does take the victory in Spain. A good race then win for Lewis Curtis, then finally gets the win and finally gets his championship back in the green as Curtis wins there. Cameron Armstrong does take second penalty though. Will drop down to third. Lee second, Tony third, Millen fourth, Lordy fifth. Cameron Armstrong does finish sixth, a couple of hundreds just behind that. Snooks in seventh, Fergus eighth, Mumford in ninth. So gets points for Alpine. Ocean then does take a point for Merck in 10th. So double points for Merck. Vizier in 11th with the instant with Brandon 12th. Donut Dynamic 13th there. Alex Waller looks like he's going to finish 14th with the pen. Will still finish ahead of Alfie, who I think is just limping around with no front wing in the end. And, McLaren in 14th. And, yep, Alfie's got no front wing. He's taking the old style chicane. Coming to the line. Well then, Alfie then, unfortunate for him today. Looked like he was going to have a good result, and then in the end it went to a disaster for both AlphaTauri drivers. But a victory nonetheless to Lewis Curtis then, who gets his championship on the go then to fight for it this season. He hasn't got a Matthew Older to be worried about. So then this is your non-official race results. Obviously may change due to obviously steward results and pens and everything. But I'll tell you what's not going to change is Lewis Curtis taking the victory at Spain today. And he takes 25 points there, not 26 unfortunately. He couldn't get the fastest lap. And obviously we don't do the 2 points for quali anymore. That was removed for this season. May return, may not. But right now then, Curtis tastes the champagne in the lead with Tony in third and Lee Kelly in second place. So a good race for Lee then in the end. Well, so here is your non-official results then. So Lewis Curtis in the lead of the race and won it, with Lee actually took the fastest lap and finished second then, starting from 8th as well. Tony 3rd, so on the back of the grid. Millen 4th, Lordy 5th, a decent result from him today, with Cameron Armstrong 6th, obviously maybe investigate with a couple of incidents. Snooks is 7th, Fergus 8th, Mumford 9th, Ocean 10th, Basil 11th, Brandon 12th, Ross or Donut Denham in 13th, Alex Wall in 14th, Alfie in 15th. Then Ollie, Billy, Cameron, Sondre and Edward all DNF from today's race. Obviously Sondre and Edward DNF early on, Cameron DNF midway to near the end of the race, and then Billy and Ollie must have had an incident which I did miss due to the issues we were having with the audio, which obviously, hopefully, will be fixed for next round, because we didn't have the issue of it last time out at Miami, and we had the issue a tiny bit last time, and I just switched control and it decided to work again. But that is a shame for the final couple of laps with no audio. Do apologise for that. Hopefully, as I said, it can be fixed. And let's have a look then. So the next round will actually be Hungary. So round number 6 is at Hungary then, which will be an interesting round for some of the drivers. It's basically the Monaco without the close walls, as people like to say. But I think there'll be a lot of good racing there, a lot of good battles, hopefully no incidents, and hopefully another 20-car grid for that round. But until then, I've been your commentator Aaron here, and I was Jared Fosby, and join us at Hungary for the next round. Goodbye for now.